Well, I'm here to show a different perspective today with my very special guest who is going to show us how running a female-led business has got them to the position that they're in today within the financial services industry. What competitive advantage did they have with the team that they've got in place? And we're going to find out from this CEO that I brought in here with you today, who's going to talk to us about how he has built a team around powerful, talented, and ambitious women. So I am very proud and very happy to present Alastair, the CEO of Finance. Welcome to the show, Alastair.
Hi, Ross. Nice to see you.
And you, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yes, I'm just on the back end of my holiday now, and looking forward to getting back and stuck into work, and probably about 17,000 admin emails.
I bet you've got a lot to get through. But nonetheless, I so value your time and appreciate you making it onto the show because I know we have a very, very tight schedule. So I really do appreciate you actually fitting us in. So thanks for being here today.
That's no problem at all.
Now, as I said in the intro, Alastair, that I've invited you here for a very specific reason. And I want to show and evidence how you have been able to build a team with a lot of women in the team, right? So before we get on to that and we discuss how that happened and what that feels like and why that has been the case, just give everyone an intro about yourself, your experience, what you do, and what made you come on the show. So if you can squeeze that in there as well when you've done with your intro.
Yeah. How long do we have, right? I mean,
It's your show.
Yeah,
It's your show.
And I'll try and make it brief because I don't want to lose anyone's attention or bore anyone to death. But I think I've got a slightly more unusual background. So obviously, Finance is a non-bank financial services group. Originally started out as a mortgage broker. It's now expanded quite rapidly over the last 2 years into property finance brokerage, bespoke facility creation, where we actually design products either to meet client requirements or because we think the market needs them. We've got an insurance and protection arm. We have an estate planning, wills and trust business. We have an education publishing and events business. We've got our own technology division, which develops software for the industry. We've got business finance brokerage. And a more recent addition is we've actually launched our own lending arm. So we've grown quite substantially in a short period of time. On the brokerage side, I think we've gained market share quite quickly from having a very innovative approach to the market. It's not so much a case of what's on the supermarket shelf and how cheap can we get it. It's actually more follow me into the back room. I'm pretty sure I might have your product, and let's put it together in a nice little hamper for you so that you get exactly what you need in one go. And if we don't have it in the back room, we'll order it in specially for you. That's generally the way I would sort of describe that, the service offering and the fact that we can originate and design new products. So we were established in 2021. We've currently got a team of 10. We've issued terms on over £2 billion worth of property in that time. We're currently live on £250 million worth of loans. I mean, a lot of the market is struggling right now, and we've added 40 million in new originations since the beginning of August. So we're definitely growing very, very quickly. We're currently active on about 100 loans. So we're not a volume player. We're a high value, low volume, complex deals that often can take longer. But the average value of our loan at the moment is around 2 million. And we're also working on a large scale loan that's going to take probably 6 to 9 months to structure, but that's for a £150 million ground up development. So we're quite broad. Whether you're borrowing 25,000 or 250 million, we can find a solution for you. And even within that short period of time, we've actually been either granted or nominated for a number of awards. So I was put in the top 30 brokers by B&C in 2022. I followed it up with being in the same power list, but now ranked among the top 40 property professionals in 2023. We're up for Best Newcomer Broker in the B&C Awards this year. We're shortlisted so far now as well for the National Association of Commercial Finance Brokers, the NACFB, for Commercial Broker of the Year, Outstanding Service Award, and myself for Rising Star. And this is a bit of a funny one. We won the Best Title Split Finance Specialist in the 2023 London SME Awards, which is an interesting win for us, given the fact that we created the facility. So I'm kind of glad that we got that one. My background in brief, so I'm new to this industry. I mean, I think, and I like to think that that's why we're able to look at things differently. I actually have done something that's highly unusual, in the sense that I spent 10 years as an investment banker, working in banks, in fixed income, derivatives, and then eventually in full global markets, both in London, Hong Kong, and Singapore. I have also then worked in the buy side, so hedge funds. So I actually used to be the COO of a $31 billion hedge fund, where my role was very much growth, expansion, compliance, and asset raising. So in what we call the distribution in the buy side. I then went and became a private equity strategy specialist for a number of years, and then decided, you know what, mortgage finance was going to be so much more exciting. So why don't I change to that? But no, I mean, jokes aside, I was living in Asia. I had some family situation with my parents getting older and getting unwell, and I realised as an only child, it probably made sense for me to come back and be able to look after them. Even though Roz is Italian, I actually grew up in Italy, and so I still have that very much Italian mentality of, you know, taking care of the older generation and looking after them. And so that's what I sort of did. I came back, and I even did the whole move where you actually move your parents in. I kind of wish I hadn't done that now, but it's working. It's working now. So now we're a nice big, multi-family, and we're, when I came back here, they wanted to live in Lancashire, and I was like, yeah, that's gonna kill my, high finance career, because there's no real banks or hedge funds up in the north. You might have a bit of back office in Manchester, but even that's 50 miles away from where I live. So I ended up having to sort of reinvent myself. And I figured, I like finance. So instead of just moving money from one place to another, let's find an application to my finance knowledge. And property finance became the first extension. And then it was almost a given that I was eventually going to go back into lending. And now we've got this ability for me to dream up new products and then actually lend those products. So it's not just there for me and my team. We're actually giving these products out now to other brokers, so more customers can avail of these packages. And we've built some pretty sexy stuff. And actually, I can give you an exclusive, Roz, because actually, as of yesterday, we just launched a modification to our title split finance, so we can now lend 75% of the split value on purchase of multi-unit freehold blocks where you're splitting titles. Which means that you could borrow 100% of the purchase price. And we've also just launched a 75% open market value bridge product within Finance Capital, which means that, again, if you're buying at a 30, 40%, a 30% discount to the purchase price, we could be lending you 100% of the purchase and 100% of the work. So given this market is quite liquid, a lot of people, cost of living, they don't have as much in savings. We're trying to keep people in the game, if that makes sense. And that's what's and that's what's led me to having to bring on a really strong team to support me. That's young and ambitious and ultimately has the same values as myself, which is that the client comes first, and I mean the client comes first. I mean, if that client wants to call you at 2 a.m, you take that phone call. So we've built a service model that's what I almost would look as akin to private banking, but private broking, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, that's really the background and how I've got to where I am now. And it's funny. I get asked often what my goals are, what my ambitions are, and in all honesty, there's no sort of money target, there's no sort of size target, there's no sort of share price target. It's just let's see how many people we can help, and let's see where we're going to go with this. And, let's just keep innovating and helping more people. It really is kind of, because I had a successful career previously, right? I now have this opportunity to just see how it goes and see where it goes. And I think that lack of pressure is what's really allowing us to grow when a lot of people might have more pressing concerns such as meeting payroll or paying the office or, other liquidity issues. And I think, as you referred to in your initial introduction, one of the big reasons for our success is having an amazing team. And, looking at the structure of my team right now, we currently have about 10 people. We did go up to 15, 16 at one point. We've pared it back to those that we've found to be the star performers. And out of, you have to forgive me, I have to look at my screen, but out of 5, 6, 7, 8, out of 10 people in the company, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 60% of the company that is female. And of those, 4 of them lead major divisions of my companies. And one of the and if we look at the age as well, just out of curiosity, right? Because often, I myself I'm turning 40 this year. But if we look at Imogen Spall, who is the head of finance property, I'm going to get this wrong now by accident, but I believe I don't know, I've forgotten her age now. She's in her early 20s. She's been a mortgage broker for over 6 years, and she's running my property finance team, which is currently live on over £100 million worth of transactions. I have Trish McGurr, who's been around the block, has worked in the NHS as a mental health senior consultant. She also has had contract work for Lancashire Police and Fire Authority, helping them with their organisational behaviour. And now she's running our education, publishing and events business. And we also have the very young Molly Markey, who we picked up from a private bank, who came in to set up and run our lending business, which is continuing to innovate and launch new products. So as you can sort of start to see, we're finding that, it's often the best woman for the job.
Interesting introduction. You've packed in a lot in such a short space of time. So I'm going to try and break down and dive into each individual segment there. So I want to kick off my first question with, you say it sounds like you're in the business, rolling with it, you're having some fun with it. You've had a lot of success in the past. And so right now you don't feel like you have the pressure on your shoulders. So where do you get your motivation and your passion from when you're just, cruising and having a good time and you haven't got that added pressure that, everyday business people have, like, make money, pay people, bring out, get the bills down, try and grow a company. Where does your motivation come from?
There's a phrase, right? They say that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And
true?
That is what and I can tell you that it's true. I can tell you that I actually love what I do. I wake up early, and even in my career, right, when I was a senior banker, I'd be like, God damn it, that bloody alarm clock! I don't want to wake up, But I just, and you look forward to the nights out more than you look forward to the day at work. But I really love what I do. I wake up early, 7 a.m. I will be working probably until the evening. I'll often be working at weekends. My clients are like, we've never met anyone that works weekends. And I'm like, well, you're off on the weekends looking at property, so I obviously need to be helping you at the weekends, don't I? I've just come back from a 3-week holiday. I was in Thailand for 10 days and I was in Torquay for 2 weeks. And I had permission from my wife to work mornings before lunch and evenings after we'd got back from the day's events, just so I could stay on top of my transactions. And I actually undertook, my team have been telling me that we need to be doing a little bit more profiling, whether that of customers and their sort of purchasing habits and price sensitivities, but also of the team themselves. And so I undertook I won't quote anyone here, but I undertook one of their sort of psychometric tests the other day, and it showed me some results that were pretty apt, actually. I mean, it said that I'm someone that's definitely very creative. I like to start new projects, build new companies, but because I'm so fast and efficient and I like things to get done quickly and correctly, I often have difficulty with people that aren't moving at the same speed. And, in doing so, it helped me unlock that knowledge of how to communicate with my team and with customers and suppliers. And it also probably helped them because I shared my results so that when they were telling me that they were late with something, they would know how to phrase it so that it wouldn't, like rattle my cage. And, so I can't describe it, right? I mean, thankfully, we've grown really quickly. We from, when I started out this brokerage, I thought that based on a lot of other brokers out there, I'd be lucky to make £30,000 to £50,000 a year. And at the current speed that we're growing, we're making, £100,000 to £200,000 a month. So there isn't the pressure anyway, based on the volume of business that we're getting. And the fact that it's the pleasure for me, that's what allows me to expand and grow. And, and I'll be honest, anytime, anytime anything starts to get a bit, mundane, that's normally my indicator to myself. Okay, Alastair, the business has got to a level where it's sustainable. Obviously, you can do more if you market more, advertise more, and so on. But it's obviously got to that level where it's running. So that's the cue for me to say, okay, great, let's hire a general manager to come and run that business. I'll go and find another way to make money, and that allows me to stay excited. Although, to be honest, now after 10 companies in 2 years, I think that I might have hit the limit with my non-bank FI. So I've started to sort of put my spare time into looking at other things I could buy, and I've kind of got my eye on a nightclub in Manchester. So because it's a great place to entertain my clients, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think it's just your passion. So to me, seems like it comes from just being a natural born entrepreneur who loves to innovate, fund, create. Obviously, I think most people listening, if they were also earning £100,000 to £200,000 per month, they would love that alarm clock going off every morning. But obviously, if people aren't in that position, they find love in their job in other ways. And I think you're just one of those naturally born entrepreneurs who just loves to, find the next bit of project to sink your teeth into. So I can see why, you're so actively involved in your business, even when you are turning over, the figures that you've just shared. So now that we've covered your passion and your characteristics and your strengths, let's talk about the setup of your team. So the reason you were invited on the show in particular was because you made it very obvious to me when we were chatting offline that you are running a very female-heavy team, right? That you've got a lot of women at leadership level, and that you quite rightly wanted to make that known to the audience and to the people here today, because actually a lot of people will assume that a lot of people in leadership are men, right? So how has that been different for you? Like, has that happened by accident? Did that grow just organically? How did it come about that you've got 60% of the people in your team are women?
I think it stems partly from my own career, and partly from opportunity. So I have always taken the view that I don't care whether you're a man, a woman, any color of the rainbow, any orientation of the rainbow. It's the best person for the job, right? That's what matters. In my own career, I accelerated very quickly. I started out in a bank when I was 23, having taken a gap year before university, and made managing director by 30, running a very large book of $500 million a year in revenue. And I was about 20 years younger than, 10 to 20 years younger than my peers, actually. And it was difficult. So, I mean, I very much faced ageism. The fact that how can someone so young be considered to be of the same level? I mean, funnily enough, that's half the reason I have a beard, because I was literally told by my boss, you look really young. Can you at least grow a beard? And it was annoying, right? Because, I mean, I don't think tenure, should be the driver of experience. If you I would almost argue, right, that if you work 18 hours a day, you're working 3 days for everyone's normal day, or 2 days for everyone's normal day, right? So 10 years time, you've actually got 20 years experience worth of the amount of time you've put in. And even more so, it catalyzes if you're good at what you do. And so I've taken that approach very much with building my own team. So for me, it's always been, it's nothing to do with discrimination laws or anything. It's just been who's best at the job, who's got the most ambition, where do they want to go, what do they want to achieve. Interviewing investment bankers was always interesting, right? Because if they only cared about the money, then how do you know they're actually going to care about the job? But if they don't care about the money, why would they want to do the job? Because that's kind of like investment banking, right? You do it for the money, but you have to enjoy it. And so for me, it's also been very interesting sort of like looking at people and saying, well, look, I would rather you actually didn't come from the industry. I mean, except for Imogen, the rest of my team, and Sam, of course, had her own career in broking, but most of my team haven't come from the industry. They've come from financial services, and therefore they had a strong understanding of the economics of the market, how it worked. And learning the product strategy and taking the exams is relatively straightforward. But we wanted to take the attitude. I don't know if you, many years ago, I saw a few episodes of Richard Branson's equivalent of The Apprentice. And instead of having them do business tasks, he used to make them face their fears. So I remember seeing an episode where the whole group were made to walk across a tightrope between two hot air balloons in the sky because one member of that group was afraid of heights. And so they were all forced to, walk the tightrope. And that individual, obviously, that was afraid of heights was allowed to therefore overcome it. And so each episode was, going out across, helping people get over one of those fears. Because if you can face your fears and get through it, then anything else, any other challenge you face in life will be simple. And business is no different. And so for me, that's been very much the approach. And so I noticed quite quickly that there were very few women in this industry, which is very similar to investment banking as it stands and fund management. It's very male driven. That's probably due to old-fashioned hierarchies, nepotism and other such things, the fraternity that exists in finance, right? The fact that you want to go out drinking with the boys and all this sort of stuff. But hey, I tell you what though, the guys go to nightclubs to meet other guys. I'm sure some guys do, but a lot of guys obviously are going specifically to hope that there's lots of girls in there, right? So, that's an interesting thing. Let's play off the fact that they want to be around lots of women. So wouldn't you want to have, so if you're going to be working with lots of brokers or lots of funders who are all men, who do they want to meet? That's, that was one of the stimulating questions. The other thing was the women in this industry, given there are less of them, there is this kind of, almost built-in sense that they need to prove themselves to be better, which obviously leads to ambition. It's similar to myself, right? So, I mean, again, during my, what do you call it in England, high school years, I faced quite a significant amount of pretty soul-destroying bullying. And it wasn't physical because I'm 6'5", but it was, it was emotional. It was sort of like, you're this, that name, right? It's almost like sticks and stones won't break my bones, but words will always hurt me. And that led to me sort of developing this sort of like outer shell that I can put up with criticism and I'm just going to show you that I'm better, right? And I think that attitude is what can carry over when you're when you're a minority in an industry, in a society or anything, that you actually end up going out and proving your success, right? We can look at demographics of entire countries where minorities have actually, overtaken the local population, not necessarily breeding, but in economy, in business, in certain areas, right? And so, and I think I'm getting a bit existential here, but I do think that we can really see that, with the women in this industry. The fact that we now have, the Women in Industry Awards and so on to really honor what they're doing for us. Because, it's so much harder. It's like, I can't say anything, right? Because not only are women often expected to, take care of, children and family, they're the ones that actually have to bear the family. And they still have to manage a career at the same time. Who do you want to put in charge of multitasking and running a multi-million-pound, multi-spoked organization? The person that can only just about read the map, or the person that can do 17 things at once? That's these sort of like characteristical concepts. I'm gonna end up, any men that watch this interview are never going to want to work with me, are they? But I don't care. We've got we've got Imogen, like I mentioned earlier, who's in a early 20s, who might have only been working for 6 years, but those whole 6 years have been as a mortgage broker, with a brief stint in a fish and chip shop, I believe. And therefore her 6 years to me is like 12 years, 18 years. She's 3 times more experienced than me in this industry. We've got Sam, who is, running our term finance team, who has it's a most interesting story about how she joined us. So I was giving talks in London to do with how to fund SAS pensions. She had seen me speak a few times, and she actually wrote to us and said, words to the effect of, I think all the products you've built are amazing. I would really like to work for you, because to be honest, if I don't come and work for you, I'm worried that I won't actually be able to compete with you anyway. So can I join you? So that was really, really endearing. And then, of course, again, it was a case of, we got Trish on board to help us run our education business, because again, she had this background, this technical background in education and healthcare and stress and all these elements that help build a business. And, we were able to attract her to come and work with us in partnership. And as a result of her initiatives, which blow me away, right? The amount of emails that go out daily from our systems to tell clients about the great new things. It's like, I can use MailChimp, but this stuff is insanely good, right? So she's like just dropped everything and has taken the bull by its horns, Budisha and all that. And we've got, and as a result, actually, she's going to be taking a much larger role shortly, running the marketing for the whole group. And then, of course, like I said, Molly, who Molly was a really difficult candidate to hire. I think I spent months courting her to join, because she was already working as sort of a BDM and senior operations manager in a lender that specialized in bridging finance. And, she was just really cautious about joining a startup. So it was a case of, just saying like, look, these are the two roles I originally had in mind. But to be honest, we're so keen to get you on board, because you've been of so much assistance to us from the firm that you currently work for, that I will build a role around your skill sets just to get you on board. And again, she's been remarkable. Just the other day, we won a new funding line. And I said to her, it would be great if we could put a bit of documentation together to show how professional our processes are when it comes to, analyzing deals, doing the KYC, underwriting, getting valuations and so on. And she sent me, like, in 30 minutes, she sent me all these bleeding kind of like, Kanban process maps, with the diamonds and the squares and the circles. And I'm like, oh my God, when did you build all of this? She's like, oh, I've just been getting on with the job, And I'm like, my team just amaze me every day. So, my target now is, if I had a target, the target is to build this business so that when I retire, they've got something to take home with them, right? They've got a business that they can now carry on.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm just going to ask a question on behalf of many listeners, perhaps tuning in. Have you got any jobs going at your firm? Are you currently recruiting, just in case anyone was interested?
Do you know what? Funny enough, I do actually. That's a very and she didn't even know that I was doing this. So this is a genuine question. So funny enough, I did put a quirky post out on LinkedIn the other day. Actually, a very different writing style to my normal style. I think the post was something along the lines of, do you get out of bed in the morning dreaming about business finance and asset finance? Do you love your job so much and that your clients know that you're the technical expert, the go-to, everybody knows who you are? Are your clients so loyal to you that they'd follow you anywhere? If you are interested, we've got a job for you. So ultimately, yes. So we're currently recruiting for managing director, so the divisional head of our business finance team, which is our business finance, asset finance, cash flow finance, trade finance, all those kind of sexy areas. And we're looking for a managing director to come in on a market leading commission. We're going to give them equity in the business. So to me, it's perfect for someone that's either younger but has already quickly accelerated, or it's probably someone mid-career that has always dreamed of running their own business but doesn't quite have that money. They have the money to either survive 6 months while building the book, or they have 6 months of investment. Well, we can cover the investment. We just need you to build the business. So if any of you guys out there are looking to run your own business within our business, what we like to call an intrapreneur, then get in touch.
Well, that is, I genuinely did not know you were actually recruiting, but hearing about your business, obviously a lot of people might be in a position where actually they tried having a business and maybe it's not for them to run a fully fledged company. Because it's often just because you are a qualified mortgage advisor doesn't mean your route is to go self-employed, right? There could be so many other roles within that role. But also by the time this show is out, maybe you have filled that position, maybe you haven't, because obviously it's not going to go out live. So either way, if people want to connect with you, whether you have a live,
we're always...
Whereabouts could they find you? No, it's fine. There's a delay in the... It's all cool. No, but where can we find you? Where's the best place to connect?
Well, I think we've got 10 websites, but the easiest website is obviously our main one, our group one, which has sublinks to all our other brands. So that's just finance, finanze.co.uk. You can obviously find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. You can find the company on Instagram, Twitter, and or X, sorry, should I say, and Threads as well. I think we have an account on Threads. I think we might even have a TikTok and YouTube channels, but stuff keeps getting set up. I don't even know about it. So yeah, we're all over the place. I think if you type finance and you avoid the Italian Ministry of Finance, you'll generally will be the one next door to it. So yeah. And also my email address, if anyone's interested, is agh@finance.co.uk, but I'm sure Rod will share that.
I won't show your email, but I won't show your email, Alastair. I'll just share your social links and your website. But
okay.
Yeah.
No problem. I think if you actually type alastairhoyne.com, it goes straight to my LinkedIn page.
Yeah. I mean, LinkedIn, it's highly rating in terms of, on the search engine, when you type someone's name, in fact, usually the first or second link is LinkedIn anyway. So anyway, I'll share all of the links.
I have a pretty unique, no, definitely. And I mean, I'm sure you'll edit this, right? I mean, I've got a pretty cool, unique, I don't know if it's a positive or a negative, but I'm literally the only Alastair Hoyne in the entire world. It's like Tyrion Lannister, the first of his name.
Good to know. So that name is up for grabs for anybody else who wants to be the second Alastair Hoyne in the UK. I don't know how, but actually, before we go, I did gloss over the point you made about Italy. Where in Italy did you grow up?
So I spent 7 years in Varese, which is about an hour north of Milan, like in the sort of like the just north of like Lago Maggiore and places like that, only about half an hour south of like of Switzerland. And so I was there from the age of 7 to 14, and then I went back again when I was 18 for a year in Florence, just to sort of practice my Italian. So, se vuoi possiamo parlare anche in italiano.
Ah, che bene! Sono molto... Wow, bravo! Non me l'aspettavo. Comunque, magari offline possiamo parlare in italiano. But for the show, if anyone's... we were just saying we'll speak Italian offline, but I'm from this complete opposite spectrum in terms of the map. I'm from Sicily, but I did actually study in near Florence. I studied in Siena. So yeah, beautiful part of the world. Yeah. I loved it there. So yeah, really, really great to chat to you today. I think it's the first time we've had a proper full-on conversation that hasn't been, over LinkedIn. So I do appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate all the wisdom and the inspiration that you've shared with us today. I think any entrepreneur listening to this can totally relate, but also it gives us so much inspiration that there are female-led teams out there, but it's not just about having a female-led team. Like, I don't want it to come across like power to the women, like let's put the men aside. Absolutely not. I'm trying to create a safe environment where we can actually work together and show evidence and evidence cases in which that is happening really, really well. So I am delighted to have had you on the show. Thank you again. And if you are tuning in and you've enjoyed Alastair's conversation with us today, give him a thumbs up. Please like the show and remember to subscribe so that you can hear from the next. Yeah, give him a thumbs up. But yeah, remember to subscribe so that you can stay up to date with the next speaker that is coming on the show. So once more, thank you, Alastair. Have an amazing week.
Thank you, you too.